Hey guys, Rhonda is here, RK3 Designs, and I have a special guest today, Miss Sandra from Twisted Treasures. I'm gonna let her introduce herself.
As she said, my name is Sandra. I'm from Twisted Treasures Furniture and got into this epoxy all because of this dear sweet lady right here. So today I am just going to do a piece that has been totally inspired by Miss Rhonda's love of turquoise and my love of rust. So we're going to combine turquoise and rust today.
And make a rusty turquoise finish. So I'm super excited to have Sandra here. And Sandra, tell us, how do my audience get in touch with you?
Well, of course, we're on Facebook and we're on Instagram, Twisted Treasures Furniture. And what we do is we have a love for those discarded pieces. I hate to see anything be thrown away, so I love to bring them in and give them a new life. We do a lot of refurnishing on old pieces. We do a lot of incorporating the epoxy onto my furniture pieces. We have been so blessed in that way that we have so many pieces, not just the countertops, but being able to use it in our furniture pieces.
So you're taking this fad, I guess, that's going on, and you're really making old stuff look new again, refunctionable.
Yes.
Is that a word, refunctionable? But you're just giving it another life.
We are. Maybe you've got an old dresser that, you know, has been in your family forever, but you don't want to get rid of it, but you don't need it as a dresser.
Right.
Okay, let's do a bathroom vanity. Let's do a coffee bar. Whatever, you can use that piece, and when you incorporate the epoxy on top of it, then it gives you that finish that you're good to go in your bathroom or that coffee bar.
Absolutely.
So it just has opened up a whole nother avenue for us in the furniture business.
And where can they find you? Do you have a website?
We are on Facebook at Twisted Treasures Furniture, or we are on Instagram as Twisted Trixie Lou, and we are located in Brashear, Texas, which is about an hour east of Dallas.
And I don't want none of y'all to tell me I have an accent, because she really has an accent.
We really don't.
You fit right in, girl. Okay, so we got started with just a piece of MDF, 1/2 inch. That's the sample board that Sandra's going to use. And we've routed it with a 1/4 inch round over bit. And the reason that we do that is because as we put epoxy on this surface, we want that epoxy to roll over and create a very pretty edge. If we have it a 90-degree edge here, her epoxy would get to the edge and pull up and almost make a little ridge. And so that's why we round over anything that's 90 degrees, because we really want it to flow. And then we painted it with bare paint and primer in one, and just Broadway, which is black, basically. All right, so we're gonna get started. She's mixed up 4 ounces of just plain Stone Coat countertop epoxy, and we measure at 3 ounces per square foot. So our sample board is a 12 by 16, so it's a little over 1 square foot. All right, so.
Okay. And the only other thing that we're going to mix actually is going to be some of the copper metallic, and we're just going to, I don't know, what is that, an ounce maybe?
Maybe an ounce.
You know, it is strictly for accent veins. That's all it's for. All we're going to do is we are just going to pour this clear epoxy right straight on our board.
I'm so excited she's sharing this technique and this finish. She knows I love turquoise, so this is right up my alley.
Between your love of turquoise and my love of rust, this just came together.
All right.
And I am a big user of just my hands, really and truly, guys.
So basically all she's doing is spreading the epoxy out just to get the surface covered with some sort of epoxy. It doesn't have to be perfectly level. She's just kind of getting all that epoxy over the surface.
Have you ever looked at an old rusty piece of tin where it kind of has those waves and dips in it? And that's kind of what this will do if you don't try and level it all out completely.
Do you want to torch the bubbles out?
Yes, please.
Okay. Got it?
Yeah.
It's a little cool in the shop this morning. It was, I think, 41 outside. So I try to keep the shop about 72 or 73. So that's where we're at.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
and what we're going to do now is I just start with my paints, and I just start spraying just little splotches of them, because as we go through, we're just going to drag those colors in together.
Gotcha.
So it really doesn't matter which color you start with.
That's leather brown. These are Rust-Oleum colors.
And
this is chestnut brown.
okay.
This is cinnamon.
And this cinnamon color really kind of gives you, you know, that old rust.
The rust look, yeah, absolutely.
And then the black I won't need right now.
Okay. Copper?
A little bit of that copper will
This
work.
is just metallic copper, hammered.
Yeah.
Hammered copper, that's what it is.
And of course, it, you know, it's going to kind of sit on that top because it's not going to go down.
Because it's a metallic, it's going to react a little differently than the regular spray paints.
And then just like the aqua will be,
Okay.
is that one?
That is aqua.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite lagoon. My favorite. This is lagoon.
And as I start pulling this, you know, I will go back and add more
Sure,
because
absolutely.
it's one of those, you see it in your mind's eye and you're just like, okay, that needs a little bit of this here, a little bit of that there. So.
Is this the new color? This is, yes, this is Saint Topaz. Okay, it's the ultimate 2X high gloss. So I've never even seen that color. So I'm excited to see what it does. Ooh, I like that color.
Yeah. We're just going to take this little, I call it a spatula.
Very expensive Bondo spreader.
Yes, that thing. And I just start pulling it. And I will lift it and just, you know, pull it through here.
I love when lagoon meets cinnamon and they become best friends. I love that color.
And this is, I know right now it doesn't look like that rusted tin, but in just a few minutes, I'm going to start adding more colors to it. You know.
And I tell everybody, it's ugly before it's pretty.
Right.
So don't ever judge it. I've done some really ugly stuff that I start wondering myself if I'm going to be able to pull it out or not. All right, so where are we going now?
I'm just going to start picking up.
Okay,
I mean,
layer it again. That's chestnut brown. This is leather brown.
And let's just a little bit more of this. Yeah, this is lagoon.
Lagoon.
And then that cinnamon, because that really gives me that rust. And now I'm going to take just a little bit of the copper metallic mixed in here.
And this is just a mica powder from Stone Coat Countertop.
And I am just, like I say, again, there's no rhyme or reason in this. This is kind of like finger painting.
So all of you out there that overthink your projects, this is just, get out of your comfort zone, get in there and just stick it on the top. And they want to be really careful about not over mixing.
Right.
You'll end up with mud.
You will.
So
you just want to kind of let them meld together, you know. And of course, with these sample boards, we can pick them up and tilt them. On a countertop or a big piece of furniture, what I'll do is I will use my heat gun to move it around. I will add some alcohol in different stages to it to move it around.
Gotcha.
You know, but like this one, of course, you know, doing your sample boards.
You're able to move it a little bit.
Right. And you don't want it to move a whole lot. You just want to kind of get it to run.
Yeah, and see, I like how there's a little texture here.
Right.
Because in real tin, you're going to have that rusty texture right there.
Right, where that, if you've ever seen an old piece of tin, like she's saying, it has that pop up on there, and that is just mixing these together and letting them run together with no rhyme or reason.
And once you put a flood coat of just clear epoxy on this, it's going to be smooth as glass, but it's still going to look like there's texture there. Absolutely.
Yes. So like I say, I'm just going to keep layering this.
So it's all about layers.
Mm-hmm. And you can even, 2 or 3 of your layers like this right here. And if you're working on something else, let it sit there for about 5-10 minutes and then come back and pull it some more. Whenever you do that, you're going to get more of that texture in there because your epoxy is going to start setting up a little bit. And whenever you pour that flood coat, it's going to be smooth, but looking underneath it, it gives you that depth.
It's got that depth in there. That's a good thing. So, yeah, so don't hurry through the project. Give the epoxy time to kind of do its thing. Let it kind of tell you the next step.
Right, because so many times I will do these and I'll be painting furniture while I'm pouring also. So I'll pour this and let it sit here like this right here, and I may go put a top coat on a piece of furniture or something and then come back and scrape it again, go back and do something else on the furniture and come back.
There you go.
So like she says, don't think you've got to do it all within a 5 minutes time.
Because just this little bit of you talking, the way it's melding right here is beautiful.
And that's what I like to do, is to let the epoxy do what the epoxy does instead of us trying to force it all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm going to use just a little bit of that bright copper.
The bright So this is actually metallic, and this is the fast drying bright copper.
Okay.
Now this type of metallic will dry really quickly on the surface, and it will stay on top.
And a lot of times what I do, like right here where I just sprayed that, instead of like a heavy spray, I will do it almost like a mist with the can,
Okay. Yeah, where it's just barely spitting out. Oh, yeah.
It almost does like your sails, like, and so I just will go through there and do that. Maybe I will. There it goes.
Yeah, it's just barely putting a sheen over the top of it.
And like this right here, I don't like this, so.
There's a big blob there.
We're just going to kind of pull that out. And on these pieces, I don't worry about, like, sometimes when you're doing your veins, you don't want that squiggly looking line. But on this, I don't worry about that.
Okay.
Because of the fact, if you were looking at an old rusted something another, those lines are not going to be like you were in a piece of stone.
Right.
It's going to, it's going to be jagged. It's going to look like that.
Yeah, and a lot of time it's because as water runs down.
Right, exactly.
It causes that patina on there and that rust.
See, this right here, how it looks like it's running down right there, and then how it's just breaking up. And we've not put any alcohol at all on this yet.
Yeah.
It's strictly just the paints. And this, to me, I'm loving.
Yeah, that looks like real stuff. What if you put that in a cup and then...
And you can, and I was going to say, you can even spray an old toothbrush.
Yes.
Remember how in our faux finishing we used to flick a toothbrush and get specks? You can do that if you're not comfortable using the can like this. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good idea. You could actually take a cup, and I would use a paper cup. Don't use a plastic cup because the spray paint will eat through that. Spray it in there. Let just the paint get in there. Take you a toothbrush, and then use your finger and kind of flip it over the top, and it'll just cause little spots to come out.
And this is just a very little bit of the clear that I had left. And so I'm just going to do a few little fracture lines.
Okay.
And I have no rhyme and reason on them.
And this just opens up everything because it's just clear.
Right.
Okay.
And I will let it set a little bit before I hit it with any alcohol.
Okay.
Because I want that pattern. Whenever I've got it to the point where I'm thinking, okay, that pattern looks pretty good, I want it to set just a little bit. And then I'll come back and maybe drag a little more, maybe hit with some alcohol.
Okay.
Just think in your mind, okay, I'm I'm looking at this old rusted piece of tin. What would it look like? And that's what you're trying to accomplish here.
Right.
So if it's got a set and you've got to pull it, or if you got to hit it with some alcohol or blow it with your heat gun, just do it in steps.
Good. Okay.
And like right there.
So you want to maybe let this set for a few minutes? Okay.
I would just let it sit now, and then we'll see where it's moving,
Okay.
and then maybe come and pull a little bit more, or,
Cool.
add
All
some more colors.
So we're going to let this set up just a little bit, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back, and we've let the epoxy set for about 45 minutes, and Sandra's going to test it and see if it's where it needs to be. So she's just kind of tapping, and she wants it to be really stringy. So it's not so much how much time. There's not an exact set, because in our shop, it's about 70 degrees, and in your shop, it may be cooler, so you may go a little bit longer, or it may be a lot warmer, and that 45 minutes may be 20 minutes. So we're actually looking for the stage that the epoxy is in, not so much the time. Okay, so what are we gonna do next?
So what I'm going to do now is I've actually turned the board around. A while ago when I was working on it, my blues were down here on the bottom. So now I'm going to take this little scraper and I'm just going to kind of hit it in high spots and pull it down this way. Then we're going to come back in and add some different colors to it.
Cool.
You know.
All right. So you've just turned the board away. Now as she drags the Bondo spreader across, it's really leaving some cool designs.
And the reason I want it like this is because I want that texture of rust.
Right.
You know, I want it to have that dimension of whenever you look at it.
It looks like you can almost feel that rust on there when you run your fingers across it.
But the thing that you don't want to do is take your hand and smooth it all out, because if you do, you're going to get like this kind of muddy look right here. So you don't want your board that. You still want that definition of the colors.
I gotcha.
But you don't want, like this is so bright blue right here, you don't want that either.
You want to kind of soften all that down.
And then like earlier, I didn't really address my sides. And so what I will do is come back and like this right here and just pull it off of the sides and kind of rub that on there.
So what we need to kind of reiterate to everybody is you're not in a hurry to do this. You have plenty of time. I mean, you're just kind of watching the epoxy kind of do its thing. So this is a finish that definitely will take a little longer, but it's not one of those finishes that it has to be done at exactly the same time on each stage.
Exactly, because even you're going to have some mist spots on here. You want those mist spots. Because again, if you're trying to recreate something that I've gone out in the pasture and picked up and it's a rusty metal piece of tin, you're going to have holes in it. You're going to have spots that have aged. Right.
Yeah, we want to embrace those imperfections. And when we put a flood coat on it, it's going to take care of any voids that where you may see a little bit of that substrate. So we're not even worried about anything as far as it being flat.
Right.
We're expecting it to have highs and lows.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly. That's what you want, because whenever you look down in it, that's whenever you see that dimension.
Perfect.
And it just kind of draws you in instead of being just flat.
Flat.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know.
Okay.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back in now and add some grays.
Grays. The
Because-
galvanized
right.
part of the tin.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And what I'll do with
this
it.
is winter gray.
Okay. And
This is
maybe
smoke
gray. Okay. And I'm just going to do this on a stick and just kind of see, because I don't want it to overtake it. And again, I'm just going to kind of hit it in spots.
So I love rusty tin, guys. My husband doesn't understand why I take new stuff and make it look old. But I love rusty tin. And when I was doing faux finishing, how many times do you have somebody bring you something and say, make it look old?
Oh, constantly. You know, they will bring a piece in and they're like, I want it to look like it's been sitting outside in the weather. I want the paint chipping off of it, you know. So it's constant. In which is perfectly fine with me, because I love rusty, chippy, pilly.
It kind of makes it feel like me.
Yeah, exactly.
Rusty and squeaky. We like old, weathered looks on everything but our face and our cars.
Yes, yes.
I like shiny new cars. Oh, that looks cool.
And like, there's no definite pattern on this. Just, look at it in your mind's eye, and what you see, that's kind of, if you think, oh man, I need a little bit of gray here, then put it there.
Right.
So
this is definitely a finish that you could do on a countertop. But if you're doing 60 square foot in a kitchen, it's going to be a little harder because you have to do quite a bit. So this finish would really be great, like in a bathroom where you have a smaller vanity, or like she said, a piece of furniture. Right. Definitely could do this on a really large surface, but I could just see this on a piece of furniture.
Yeah, it is great on a piece of furniture.
I like how it's just dragging. I love that.
I did one on a fireplace hearth like this, and their fireplace was stone, and this really is a good finish on that. Okay, I want just a little bit of alcohol.
Okay. So this is just plain 91% isopropyl alcohol. She's so dainty. I'm like, throw that on there. Oh, and then when you go drag that, it kind of causes some, wow.
And the reason I did that is because it looked like that gray was just sitting there. And
you wanted to break it up a little bit.
Like right here, I don't like the way that this gray is just sitting. So I'm just going to break it up just a little bit.
Add a little bit of that dimension on there.
Drag it and chop it in. You can do more gray on it. You can do white in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of white in old rusty tin. You bet.
I was just looking to see if I had a white here. I would add a little bit.
Well, I can get you a white right here. Boom. See, magic.
There we go.
White.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, I'm really liking this.
And see, and I have not used any black except the black that the baseboard was.
Through. And you can see all the black coming through. Absolutely. And then also corrugated tin has that wave. So you're almost giving it like that wave look. Don't be scared to leave it setting because it's not going to hurt it. A lot of work time with this epoxy. It's not going to just get set up and where you can't manipulate it a little bit. And also, if you noticed, she's not used heat much at all. She popped the bubbles at the very beginning, and we haven't touched it with heat at all. Because if we do start hitting it with heat,
you start
all
losing.
of our separation is going to go back together because we're heating up that epoxy and we're causing it to be very fluid again, and our colors are going to run and meld.
I want it to hold that design, so I don't use a lot of heat whenever it's more my stick and just my hand and just pulling it.
Yeah, this looks like it could be on the side of an old building or barn. Absolutely.
And you could take this and do this right here, and like if you were wanting to put a decal on here, make a sign, a cornhole board.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This would be,
Please don't tell Kenny cornhole boards. Do you know how many cornhole boards we make?
And you don't even have that much product on here. If you stop and really think about it, you've got a little spray paint. You're not using a lot of spray paint.
So it's a fairly economical finish.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And right now I'm loving this right here, how this white is just breaking up in there.
Yeah, I love that. This is really pretty. So at what point do you determine, okay, I've gone to that point and I can't really work it anymore? Is it when the epoxy becomes super stringy?
Whenever it starts getting where if I pulled my stick across here and it starts kind of pulling up with me, then I know that's it. I'm done.
To the point of no return at that point.
And I will, where I've pulled that and it's gotten to that point, I will leave that little hump in there because I know my flood coat's going to take care of it. And it just gives you that little dimension right there, but I won't do it over the whole boards because I don't want the whole thing like that.
That you've hit that point.
Right.
Awesome.
Okay. Now, one other thing I'm going to do is, and this is just a matte clear.
Okay, show the camera.
That's all it is. It's just a clear spray. And I am just going to take it and just kind of flog this whole thing. And what this starts doing is it kind of gives you a glassy effect over the top of it. And then if you go back and say really hit it hard right in there, and then just take, you'll see it start spreading like that right there. It's not spreading your colors out, but it'll just give you, and if you get like those little circles like that, which I don't like, just kind of touch it and break it up.
So it just gives it kind of that glassy look on there?
Yeah. I did one piece like this on top of a, the lady called it her dough table.
Okay.
She was very rustic in her house, and she makes bread. And so the top of her dough table looked like this right here, and that's what she used it for. But she wanted it to have a really glassy look on top, so that's what I did with that.
So then even when you put your flood coat on it, it's actually giving it that one more layer of kind of glass.
Just that depth of whenever you look down in there, it's just kind of like draws you in there.
Yeah, okay, cool. Wow.
And to me, I would say,
My favorite part right here.
I'm done.
Yeah, good. All right. Wow, guys, this is gorgeous. I could see this on definitely a piece of furniture where the rest of the furniture was painted, and it may not be as distressed and as busy.
Right.
So your furniture may be a little more subdued, and this is like, wow, boom. I could see a cutout with a copper sink dropped into this. Holy cow.
This would be so, you know, bathroom vanities, furnitures, it would be a piece that would be harder to do on a countertop in a large area just because of the steps.
Right, exactly.
But
I mean, there's so many people out there that are doing just furniture. They're not wanting to do big kitchen.
Right.
Guys, this is amazing. Well, I am so honored that you came and showed us all this gorgeous finish. And guys, if you like this, give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell for future notifications and let us know what you think. Leave us a comment. We will have all of these products listed on my website, RK3designs.com, so that you can go and recreate something like this. We also have products now. We have a whole line of Stone Coat countertop products. Colors, additives are also available on the website. So check us out. Also, if you can't get to one of our classes, check out our online class, onlineepoxypro.com. We'd love to see you there. And guys, remember, until next time, don't be scared, move forward, and be creative.